Flood the zone might be one of the most important phrases to keep in mind throughout the Trump presidency. Donald Trump and his MAGA stooges will do anything possible to distract from their failures, to distract from Donald Trump's real agenda, distract from what they actually want to get done, but don't want you to focus on. It's the point of their culture wars. It's the point of Donald Trump's weird speeches and interviews that always go off the rails. He doesn't want you focused on what's under the surface of his administration. And right now, that is a mass purging of government officials. Not because Donald Trump thinks he can trim the fat around the edges of our government and that'll make some huge difference. No, it's because Donald Trump wants to install his own loyalists and he needs a reason to do so. And that is being called out. Because this isn't just an action by Donald Trump, this is an unconstitutional scandal, what is going on. And that is exactly how Jamie Raskin is treating it and how he called out Donald Trump. And I want to get into that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really means a lot to me. Now let's get into Jamie Raskin's interview with Jen Psaki.
So yeah, I know this all sounds scary, and I'm not here to minimize the impacts of a president gutting the federal government and taking a wrecking ball to the Department of Justice, but that's why we're going to keep talking about it. Luckily, I do think the country is realizing just how important government can be. And all it took, I hate that this is the case, was a president trying to stop everything the government does. Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland. He's the ranking Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee. He knows a lot about a lot of things, is my summary, too. I have so many things I want to ask you about, but I just want to start with this purge of FBI officials and January 6 prosecutors. You said in a statement, if allowed to proceed, Trump's purge of our federal law enforcement workforce will expose America to authoritarianism and dictatorship. I mean, you are a constitutional law expert. You choose your words carefully. Talk to me more about your concern here and where you think this could land.
Well, the dictators always try to move in against the police to seize that function. If you look at what's happened, Trump pardoned 1,500 violent insurrectionists, Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, seditious conspiracists, people who attacked cops, violently assaulted officers. Then they appointed, as the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, a guy who organized the January 6th violent festivities and assault and protest against the peaceful transfer of power and has been an election denier. And now they're proceeding to sack prosecutors who were involved in prosecuting January 6th, even if they were assigned to it. It's not as if they volunteered for that. In a lot of cases, they were just assigned to do it. They're sacking them for having anything to do with it. And the attack on the FBI is extraordinary because for decades it really has been an apolitical operation. There are Republicans who work there, independents, Democrats. They've served all administrations. And now, just because they were assigned to work on the most massive attack on the U.S. Capitol in American history and to prosecute cop assaulters, they're being fired. They're being investigated. And so there's this mass purge taking place, obviously coming from the top. What they're overriding and what we're standing on in the first wave of this is the civil service protections that people have. You know, even at the FBI, people have to have a due process administrative hearing before they're fired. Nobody in the civil service can be fired because of political reasons. That's the whole reason we have a civil service. The civil service exists so people aren't fired for political reasons. And the only justification being given for any of these firings, whether we're talking about prosecutors, FBI agents, people in other agencies, is we feel like you can't get with the president's program. You can't serve him. Of course, they haven't been given a chance. So these are apolitical, professional civil service people. They've not been given the chance. They're just essentially accused of guilt by association for doing their jobs before. And that's an amazing thing. So it's a very dangerous moment for the American people because the professional independent civil service serves us. Mm-hmm. It's all of the laws and programs that Congress has adopted on behalf of the people, like Social Security, like Medicare, like the national parks, like the FBI itself, like prosecution. And suddenly they are trying to bring it directly under the control of the president for political purposes.
I just said in the opening, I mean, this is an ongoing story. There are amazing reporters reporting on it, but there is this list that is reportedly being created that could be made public of people who have worked on these prosecutions, investigated them in a variety of ways. Are you concerned about that list becoming public and a target being on the backs of these people as the January 6th insurrectionists were released?
Well, Enrique Tarrio, who's a leader of the Proud Boys, has posted online, I think this morning, the name of an FBI agent demanding her investigation and her arrest for various imaginary crimes he thinks that she has committed. So we're in a situation now where the pardoned criminals believe that they've got more power, and they're probably right, with the new government than FBI agents, than law enforcement officials, and then prosecutors. And they want a complete purge of the government to bring everybody directly under mega control.
We've talked a lot about who is the most dangerous of the remaining nominees that Donald Trump is putting forth. Is it RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, or is it Kash Patel? And when you listen to what Jamie Raskin is saying about the way that the intimidation has already started at the FBI, pre-Kash Patel, really feels like it might be him, especially with a 10-year term that he would be serving as FBI director if he wasn't fired by a potential Democratic president in 2028. That's really scary. And it's really scary, again, for everything that's kind of underneath the administration, everything that's kind of behind the scenes. RFK Jr.'s actions will be a lot more public. What Pete Hegseth says and does will be a lot more public, right? Those nominees, the actions of a Pam Bondi too, what is happening at the FBI is going to be a lot quieter. The mistakes that will be made by these just really stupid Trump stooges that they're installing will be a lot quieter, but the impact will be greater. And that's something that we really have to fear for, that Donald Trump's mass purge of government is being sold as this efficiency plan by the genius, and I'm really putting that in quotes because of course I don't believe it, but this is how they're trying to sell it, but the genius billionaire businessman of Elon Musk, trimming the fat and saving you money. But no, they just want to install their loyalists. It's terrifying. That is the plan here. And if you are a Donald Trump loyalist doing whatever he says all the time, I can probably bank on the fact that there's not a lot of critical thinking up there, because if you're in his cult, how could there be? So I don't think these people are equipped to do any jobs, especially the ones keeping us safe and keeping our government running. And that's why the people who maybe aren't being threatened right now, but are starting to feel the pressure, are leaving, which is another scary element of this as well. People who've been doing their jobs for decades now, leaving these institutions because they think they're going to be broken and they can't keep them up. That is terrifying. And a lot of that has come because of Elon Musk. And Rachel Maddow got into some really important reporting on that I want to check out right here.
We're still in the early hours of understanding what this means, but I think this may end up being a very big deal. Today, the Post broke news that the highest-ranking career official at Treasury, a man named David Liebrick, is leaving the U.S. government, quote, after a clash with allies of billionaire Elon Musk over access to sensitive payment systems. So Elon Musk and his team of people have reportedly been asking Treasury for access to the payment systems that the government uses to pay its bills, to pay out trillions of dollars a year across the federal government, also payments to businesses and individual households. So if you're a federal worker, before your paycheck hits your bank account, it goes through this system. Same thing if you get a Social Security check or a Medicare benefit. Payments to government contractors, tax refunds, grant recipients. You get the idea. This is basically the government's checkbook at the Treasury Department, how they pay for everything. It's so sensitive that only a few career officials actually have access to use this system. But according to the Post today, Elon Musk and his team have demanded access to it as well, which led to a dispute with a very high-ranking career official at Treasury who's now quit over this dispute, who's now resigned. The Post says it is unclear what exactly Elon Musk's team wanted to do, why they wanted access to this incredibly sensitive system. One former Treasury Department official tells the Post, quote, "This payment system has never been used in a way to execute a partisan agenda. You have to really put bad intentions in place for that to be the case." I do not know enough about what this payment system does or how it works to understand the implication of it potentially being misused. But I will tell you, I have been watching enough of these red flags in the last 11 days to recognize that this is a very big one. And if the people in control of this very sensitive, very highly restricted system now do have bad intentions for what they're going to do with it, what does that mean? What is the scope of what they could do?
It is really scary to see the amount of damage that has been done by Donald Trump and his shadow president in Elon Musk in just a couple of days, and projecting that out over the next 4 years. But what we have to be very focused on is communicating to people how this is going to impact their everyday lives. Because the information platforms that Donald Trump has in his back pocket, because he's got X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, all of Meta, all their platforms, so Facebook and Instagram, TikTok in his back pocket as well, Google sucking up to him, he is going to push the narrative, and they're going to help him do it. There was a recent report that came out that showed that after President Biden got out of the race, and even a little bit before then, overwhelmingly TikTok was pushing conservative-leaning content, even hyper-partisan Republican content, to an overwhelming amount of Democrats or left-leaning people, or even independents, in a much larger way than they did other way around. It's Democratic content suppressed, Republican content uplifted. And that's what we're seeing. The people who are bumping into politics rather than searching it out are seeing that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are cutting the fat in government, slimming down the bureaucracy. That's what they're being sold. But what's actually happening is your life is about to get a lot worse because there's going to be a bunch of MAGA morons in government. That's it. That's what we have to communicate to people. When they see these devastating plane crashes, it's because Donald Trump wants to deregulate. He's already fired a whole host of people and wants it to be more difficult for anyone in the government to work. People don't want to be there. And that's scary. And we have to call it out every single day. And we're going to on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.